Green grows in the valley. That's the lyrics that I heard this morning. I got a chance to get up, spend a little quiet time. I don't know if it was that quiet because I got little Ziggy, our new little puppy, and he is a little Tasmanian devil. The guy is crazy. He's as cute as can be, but I got a chance to sit today, and that Maverick City lyric said, "Green grows in the valley," and it just nailed me. It just hit me so hard this morning, and God was speaking to me through that. And what it made me think of was my mama, because when they said green grows in the valley, they were talking about that the valley is dark, and the valley sometimes is not very comfortable and it's scary, and but that's where all the growth happens. That's where the green comes from. And I thought about different times in my life where there was valleys, and my mom would always say to me, "Never grow weary in doing good works." And that was always easily digestible for me when I was on the mountaintop, and she was saying, "Never grow weary in doing good works." And I would cheer her on and be like, "Yeah, exactly, because things are going well." But then when things would start to be challenged, or I'd start to be challenged in my life, in my personal, my professional, my spiritual, or my financial, then I started to think, like, I don't want to have to do the right thing. The right thing sometimes doesn't give me the results when I want it. And I want the results that I want right now, as opposed to, later on down the line. So doing the right thing wasn't the most important when I was in the valley. And see, I reached out to my buddy named Rick, and I said to him the other day, I said, "Hey, great job on a come from behind victory. You guys are awesome." And I have my remarkable here, and I wanted to read this right from you because it was a direct quote. He said, "Thank you. We capitalize on mistakes and have players step up each week. It is the detailed nature of our culture." And so it made me think about, like, when he goes into the valley or they're behind in a game, it's not about like focusing on the bad things. It was the fact that people were going to step up, and it was a detailed part of what their culture was, and that they built it that way. And when I looked at, what my mom was talking about, never grow weary in doing good works. It's easy to do good works when you're on the top of the mountain, but when you're in the valley, that's where the challenges happen. And in Proverbs 24 today, it gave us insight into celebrating those valleys, not only just being in them and capitalizing on them, but also celebrating and inviting valleys into our lives. And when we are on the mountaintop, which every one of us will be at some point, start looking for the valley for you to be able to go into and not only get rest, but to be able to see the green growth that will happen. So let's get this party started.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Green grows in the valley. It's not something that I wanted to hear all the time. It's definitely the right thing when you look at it over time. But green grows in the valley, and in the valley, again, it's dark, it's dirty, it's nasty, but that's where most of the growth happens. When I talk about growth, it's great too, because I get a chance to have your legacy summit that's coming up, and this is going to be an incredible opportunity. Now, the fun thing about it is I worked with a girl named Tara Harvell years and years ago. And, she, like most of the kids that would come into our company at 19, 20 years old, whatever it was, they would all say, like, she moved across the country to work with us. And they would all say the exact same thing: "I'm willing and ready to do anything." Then when they got in and things started to get a little tough, they started to at times question a little bit, because we were very militant on the results that we wanted to get within our company. And I believe that if you want extreme results, you have to do extreme things to be be able to get to that point. And so, she ended up leaving our company after about 2 years. And at the time I thought it was a little premature because I saw some things that, definitely she could continue to grow in. But what was so amazing is I stayed in contact with her over time, just through social media. And I watched her grow, and I watched her add action to all those things. And I saw her seek out, incredible counsel and be around phenomenal people. And she's built an incredible business. And now she's brought me back and, asked me to come and speak to her audience now with the Your Growth Summit, or your Legacy Summit, and in Scottsdale. And that's going to be amazing. It's in November. So if you haven't been in touch with that, and you should come out. I'm going to be talking about some of the disciplines that you can implore and that you could add action to be able to get the type of results that you want. And I get a chance to be able to share. I'm honored to be able to be hanging with Tara during that time. I just got off NiftyCon, which is the #1 digital marketing conference for attorneys, and it was in Salt Lake. NiftyCon, Nifty Marketing. It was amazing. And to be able to do that, I got to deliver the keynote there, which was on the vibe, not the energy that you bring into the room, but the way in which people feel when you leave. And then I got a chance to do Masters of Balayage. That was the hero retreat. And I got to deliver the keynote there. And we talked about the vibe. Again, not the energy that you bring into the room, but the way that people feel when you leave. And for me, it doesn't matter which leadership system you use. It doesn't matter which culture you have or which systems or any of those things. For me, it's just the way that people feel about them. And when, people want to shift the vibe of their conference or of their organization, that's when they bring me in to be able to talk about this very simple thing that literally is the power to unlock anything. I'm very, very honored to be able to do those things. And, I think about it because, when I sat this morning with my alone time, and, I would encourage you, if you're not doing it now, take a little bit of time for yourself, read something that fills you up, write about it, and then go and speak life to people. So read, write, and then speak. And if you do that every morning, you'll find that, magic will start to happen around you. It's not really magic. It's the preparation that you put in. And this morning with mine was the green grows in the valley. That's the thing that hit me the most. And my friend Rick and my mom, they came to my mind, and, I started to look at it, and I started to ask, how can I really celebrate the valleys? How can I get excited about it and invite them into my life? Well, in Proverbs 24, it gave us these insights, and I'm gonna pop my glasses on because, that's where we're at now. So, in verse 1 and 2, it talked about prepare, focus, execute, and adjust. And if you want to get prepared for the valleys, think of that. Prepare. Think about when you're on the mountaintop, prepare for it. Focus on where you want to grow, execute, and then simply adjust. Don't be so rigid on yourself to have the perfect results. I think one of the greatest pieces of counsel that I got this weekend at NiftyCon, the #1 digital marketing conference for attorneys, was Justin Miller. Justin Miller works with SMS trial lawyers, and he's an absolute beast in Atlanta. And what he said is he said, I'm not so rigid with the routine that I don't allow myself the freedom to be able to pivot. Justin Miller, I love you. You're my brother. You can't get rid of me now. So I want to tell you that you're awesome, and that helped me. So think of this: prepare, focus, execute, and adjust. And that's in verse 1 and 2. In verse 3 and 4, it talked about wisdom, understanding, and knowledge are undefeated. Think of those three: wisdom, understanding, knowledge. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. Then you bring knowledge into it. Then you gain understanding. And those things are undefeated when you take the time. But where can we get wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge? The wisdom begins with the fear of God, or the respect of God. So when you spend time with him, he'll give you wisdom. So imagine that. If you spend time with God, he'll give you wisdom, give you understanding, give you knowledge, you'll be undefeated. It's unreal when you look at these things. In verse 5 and 6, it talked about wisdom provides power, knowledge gives strength, and guidance brings victory. Now, who wouldn't want power, strength, and victory? Well, if you want those, wisdom, knowledge, and guidance. And in verse 7, this was a tough one to write, because as I was writing it, I was like, I'm going to get judged on this. But in verse 7, it talked about wisdom separates. Because what it said is wisdom is so high that it separates. Now, some people will tell you, oh, you got to go through and you got to filter your friends. You got to filter the people around you. No, no, no. If you seek wisdom, wisdom is so high that it will separate, because the people who don't want to have wisdom and don't want to be around wisdom, they won't be able to survive in the elevation that wisdom resides in. And imagine this, you won't really have to filter. You won't have to worry about, should I hang with this person? Should I hang with that person? No, just seek wisdom, which comes from respecting God. And when we do that, what'll happen is you'll elevate so high that there are going to be some people that aren't going to be able to come and hang with you. And that's okay. And it'll separate that. It's, again, 3,000-year-old wisdom, guys. This was written 3,000 years ago, and it's still applicable in today's business and, in our relationships and our lives and everywhere. This is mentioned in verse 8 and 9, 11, 12, 15, 16, 20, and 21 and 22. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And this thing was mentioned 8 times, which means that it's very important, and it was just do right. Just do right. You know what it is. Now, there's times where we can veil our heart a little bit, or our mind, or our, justify things in our head. But at the core, every one of us knows what's right. You know it. And if you sat with yourself, you know exactly what's right. And if you'll just do right, imagine the amount of return on that. But it won't come in your timing. It'll come because of his plan, his purpose, and his timing, which sometimes can be frustrating to us. In verse 10, it talks about your strength will be tested in the valley. Now think about this. The growth comes in the valley, but your strength will be tested in the valley. When you're in the dark and things aren't going your way, that's when your strength will be tested. And so in verse 13 and 14, it follows up with wisdom brings hope, and hope brings faith. You see, wisdom, which starts with the respect of God or the fear of God, right? That wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge, that'll bring hope. And some people stop at that. But imagine this, hope, like, oh, I hope that this thing will happen. Hope, when you really dig into that and you start to work that hope, what starts to happen is faith. And that faith is the substance of the things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And so there's a difference between hoping that it'll happen and expecting it to happen. When you get to a point of expectation, it means that you have faith, that you know that that thing is coming into play. And so where God wants us to be is in faith in his goodness, in faith in his blessing, in faith in all those aspects. And that'll bring joy in everything we do, not your circumstances changing, but you falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing that magic to happen. In verse 17 and 18, it talked about let God work. When someone does you wrong, let God work. When someone does you right, let God work. When you're in the valley, let God work. When you're on the top of the mountain, let God work. And it just reiterates this over and over again. In verse 19 and 20, it talks about minding your business. And when you mind your business and you work your land, comparison falls away. When you have the tendency to look at somebody else's situation and you want that because you want their result, what God is just simply saying is he gave you your business, and mind your business. In verse 24 through 26, 28 and 29, so it's 5 times in this, it talked about this: be good and honest. Be good and honest. How do we know what good is? Through wisdom. Where do we get wisdom? From the fear of God. How can we fear God? We just respect him by spending time with him and seeing that his words and his actions are in line. And when that happens, then he'll show you what's good for you at that time, and he'll show you where those principle-based things are, and he will help you to be honest, because my mama said, like, if you tell the truth, you don't have to worry about anything else. Like, the truth will never hurt you, right? And so in verse 27 through 29, this is so strong, and this one hit me so hard. I had it written in my notes. Number one, understand your purpose. So your purpose is nothing more than identifying your gifts and then go give them away to every single person possible. Understand your purpose. Work your gifts, and then build your life around those. And when this happens, you'll find that people say, oh, wow, there's magic that happens. No. That's what you're purposed to do. What you're purposed to do is identify your gifts and then go give them away. Go give away the things that you're innately gifted at, and then work those gifts and become the absolute greatest at it, and then build your life around those gifts. In verse 30 through 31, it was very, very clear and very simple, saying, just do the work. Just do the work. There's no way to be able to get around it. People ask me about the podcast and about how to be able to produce their show, things like that. And I work with workflows with them and help them to be able to set up their show and things like that. But at the end of the day, just like I was working with my friend Barron, you got to put in the reps. You got to do it over and over and over again. That's the reason why this year, from January 6th till right now, we've done over 191 episodes in the span of about 9 months. And the reason why, because I want to get in the reps. I want to make sure that we're doing the work. Do the work as often as possible, and then execute it, and then just adjust from it. Like my friend Justin Miller said, don't be so locked into the plan that you don't give yourself the freedom to be able to pivot when you need to. And it finishes up in verse 32 and 34, prepare on the mountaintop to be in the valley. Wars are won in peacetime preparation, and most of us get to a point where we're in the war and then we start trying to prepare, then it's already gone. Wars are won in peacetime preparation. You see, both my mom and Rick had an unfair advantage when they're in the valley because they're serving the one who made them in the first place. And I think that when I called my buddy Rick and I said to him, I said, hey, great job on a come from behind victory. And these were his words, and I want to read them because I want to honor him. He said, thank you. We capitalize on mistakes and have players step up each week. It is the detailed nature of our culture. Well, when he said that, he had an unfair advantage, not only because he serves the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, but also it might just help out a little bit that my friend Rick has the greatest player in NFL history on his team in Patrick Mahomes. That could be a reason why he is able to have a come from behind victory. But every one of us is going to be at a point where we're behind in the score, whether it be in our personal, professional, or spiritual, or financial life. And when we're in the valley, we're not standing on the mountaintop, but we're in the valley. And what I want to encourage every one of you to do is to celebrate the valley. Celebrate it, seek it out. And when you're on the mountaintop, look for the valley that you want to go into. Number one, it'll give you rest. But number two, that's where the green grows, is in the valley. I want to thank every one of you. Make sure you comment, you subscribe, and you share it with all your friends. I appreciate you. This has been another episode of Inchstones. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make